Welcome, 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 everybody. This is the 17th annual Empty Bowls, but our first virtual dinner. And I welcome you and just thank you so much for joining us this evening. You know, since I've been a part of the Empty Bowls event, it has become such a special annual tradition, not only for the organization, but for me personally. You know, the evenings spent at Landmark College, seeing so many friends, supporters, we're coming together for such a vital cause. An evening of connection, music, conversation, delicious soup, hunks of cheese, apples on the table, ice cream sandwiches, so much goodness. I really look forward to this event, and it's the marker of fall for me. But alas, tonight we have to come together virtually. And so even though we are coming together over the internet, we're going to try to make this evening as engaging and as interactive as possible. And so if you're joining us on YouTube Live or on Facebook, there's a chat function on both of those platforms. And we're going to ask you to use that throughout the night to ask questions, make comments, but also to tell us, well, what we're going to start with right now is to tell us where you are viewing. So where are you set up? Where are you having your virtual Empty Bowls dinner tonight? If you could go ahead and just chat that in the type that in the chat, that would be fantastic. So I'm coming to you live from my office on the Winston Pratt campus. My office has been up here for a couple of years since we moved the overflow shelter up here. I have an amazing view of Mount Wintasticate, seeing some of the fall colors coming through. And as the sun is going down, it looks fantastic. And so I'm trying to find where the chats are to see who is joining us and from where. So far I can't find any chats, so that means you need to do more work, folks. If you're watching, get your chats going. And we're going to come back to that throughout the night. So tonight we're going to give you a picture of Empty Bowls and of Groundworks, as well as have some music by Steve Carmichael and Lark Holm. And then Jenny Reichsman is also going to perform. The music is such a big part of what happens up at Landmark College, so we're happy to be able to bring you that tonight as well. We're also going to be joined by the Foodworks crew. And Christine, the coordinator of Foodworks, is going to join me for a question and answer. So again, there's an opportunity to use the chat to ask Christine any and all questions that you want to find out about Foodworks. Later on, we're going to talk about some of our shelter programs, because Groundworks has a very broad scope of services. We are food, shelter, and supportive services. And so Ryan is going to join us as Director of Operations to talk about some of our shelter programs as well. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. And our first cut is with Sarah Ryan and Beth Kendall. Sarah and Beth, in addition to being steadfast board members, they really drive Empty Bowls behind the scenes. And they do so much to make every year possible for the past couple of years, but especially so this year as we have switched our format. So I'm going to kick it over to Sarah and Beth to tell us more. Hi.
Hi there. Well, welcome everybody. I'm coming to, my Empty Bowls is in Dummerston this year. We're using bowls that we bought this year and bowls we've collected over the years, and soup from our recipe book even that we included this year. This event, if it were a normal year, we would be halfway to 3/4 of the way through our first sitting. And we would have been preparing for that first sitting starting in May, when the committee would get together. And we would have people who would be organizing the soup vendors, people who were going to donate the soup, people who were going to donate bread and ice cream and yogurt and flowers to decorate the tables. So our volunteers this night would have already set all the tables. People would have been cutting bread, cutting cheese, making platters for butter, and getting the tables all set. And they'd be serving out, volunteers would be serving soup to all the guests that were coming. And then our volunteers again would be cleaning up those tables really rapidly and getting ready for the second seating, which would go through getting everything just as fresh for the second group of people coming in. And the night it takes like 60 to 70 volunteers on an average year to get this whole thing going, from people selling tickets before the event to taking tickets, as I said, wiping down the tables, cleaning the tables, recycling food at the end, cleaning food and taking it down to Foodworks afterwards. It's just a huge thing. Potters have always been a great part of this event. And also this year, sort of segueing, this year the stores in town have been amazing. We couldn't have done it. I mean, people miss the event because it is social, like you said. It's just so much fun, but people are so behind the spirit of what this event is all for, and for helping our neighbors. And so consequently, the local stores, Brattleboro Co-op, Zephyr Designs, Kitchen Sink, Everyone's Books, the Shoe Tree, the Putney Co-op, and even the Putney General Store, they have all been fabulous about selling bowls. I was delivering more bowls today, and the potters have just been fantastic. So we actually, even, I gotta tell you, this year, because it was so different, we sold the tickets, the bowls online, and we sold party packs and mini party packs. We had a couple that had come last year for the first time, and they came up from Connecticut, and they were so taken with the event and the atmosphere and everything. They bought their bowls this year. They made a day trip up from Connecticut so they could pick up the bowls. And it was exciting. Yeah. And I think that's one of the
farmers.
They're farmers,
they
right?
Were farmers and got up and did their chores and then came up to,
And it's just so much fun to see. I mean, we really miss the whole sense of community this year, but in the other side, it's so nice to see how our community and everybody is opened up to not only sharing the soup together, but helping provide soup for, food for those who can't do it on their own.
Absolutely.
So
it's such an amazing effort every year to put this event on. Thanks for laying out just like all the work that goes in, not only on the night, but leading up to the night, and everybody that's involved in that.
Yeah, it's always been such a great thing where nobody's carried the whole burden. It's been a shared thing, and then it all just comes together so well, and this year we did it differently, but we have done it, and we're feeling pretty successful about it. So this is awesome.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
And Beth has some information about all our potters.
Well, the potters are as dedicated as ever. They start right about now and start producing for the following year. And you will see the potters listed shortly, along with a little bit of a video of Naomi Lindenfeld doing a little of her work. Oh, this is a Naomi pot. I'm not advertising, but I
all the bowls are wonderful.
All the bowls are wonderful.
wonderful.
And in fact, you will now actually, as you go through this, if you have a bowl, hold it up for yourself, because your potter will be recognized. Special thanks. Oh, here we have also the sponsors. Yeah, do thank the sponsors. They're a huge part. I mean, I want to just speak on behalf of our fantastic board and our dedicated staff to just thank the sponsors, to thank the potters who just put in a huge effort. I mean, the potters,
incredible amount of work.
Well, and
it is.
The potters began this. I mean, it was a national kind of event, or happening in other parts of the country. And 17 years ago, the potters decided that this is what they were going to do for us, or for the folks in town that we serve, and could not be more grateful to them. I do want to say that they, I mean, I want to give special thanks to some of the potters who helped us organize, like Bonnie Stearns and Andy Matthews from Clayworks, Sherry from Wheelhouse, and then all the individual potters and students at Leland and Gray, at Putney School. And I think in a minute, here's Naomi.
There we go.
Some work. Yeah. Hi, Naomi. And then please, if you
And this incredible list of potters. I mean, look at this list
Yeah.
of people who are producing bowls to
Yeah.
support our work.
And I knew, for instance,
They just
Clayworks,
keep coming.
they do, and I know, you know, they go about there. A lot of these folks are working on their own. A lot are working. Andy Matthews, thank you so much for your work at Clayworks. Andy's set a goal for Clayworks to make 200 bowls for us. So, and I'm sure, you know, everybody has their idea of what they're going to do for this, because they really are dedicated. And without them, we would not be having this event. This is Walter Slewinski's kiln, and look at that fire. Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, Walter, and thank you, Naomi, for your videos. And thank you, potters. What can I say?
Thank you.
Back to you, Josh.
Thank you so much, Beth, Sarah, all the potters, all the stores in town who have let us sell bowls in their establishment. Again, it's just an incredible effort that goes into this event every year. And it is such a special event. As I was alluding to, as Sarah told the story about, it really resonates with folks. And I think part of it is the fact that you get your bowl, you get your soup. I can't help but talk about how we've had it set up. You get your bowl, you get your soup, you go sit down, big long table. So you're going to sit with some folks that maybe you know, some friends, or maybe some new friends you're going to make that evening, and you're going to listen to some music. And so right now we're lucky to have Steve Carmichael and Lark Holmes joining us, and they're going to perform Hard Times by Gillian Welch. And Steve says its message of perseverance could not be more relevant to the times like the ones we are living through. Couldn't agree more. So take it away, Steve and Lark.
There was a Cape Town man, used to plow and sing. He loved that mule, and the mule loved him. When the day got long, as it does about now, I'd hear him singing to his muley cow. Calling, come on, my sweet old girl. I bet the whole damn world that we're gonna make it, yeah, to the end of the road. Singing hard times ain't gonna rule my mind. Hard times ain't gonna rule my mind. They say hard times ain't gonna rule my mind no more. Said it's a mean old world, heavy in need. That big machine is just picking up speed. And we're supping on tears, and we're supping on wine. We all get to heaven in our own sweet time. So come on, you Asheville boys, turn up your old time noise, and kick till the dust comes up from the cracks in the floor. Singing hard times ain't gonna rule my mind, brother. Hard times ain't gonna rule my mind. Hard times ain't gonna rule my mind no more. But the Camp Town man, he doesn't plow no more. I seen him walking down to the cigarette store. Guess he lost that knack and he forgot that song. Woke up one morning and the mule was gone. So come on, you ragtime kings, and come on, you dogs, and sing, and pick up your dusty old horn and give it a blow. Playing hard times ain't gonna rule my mind. Hard times ain't gonna rule my mind. Sugar, hard times ain't gonna rule my mind no more. Thank you.
Thank you.
So great. Thank you so much, Steve and Lark. And such a poignant song. Such a beautiful location, and how quickly I've fallen into just acknowledging the fact that they're, even though they're outside, they're socially distanced and good space. So thank you so much to Steve and Lark. Have you ever wondered more about Foodworks? Like, how do we get the food to Foodworks? What have we done during the pandemic to get food from Foodworks into people's kitchen cabinets? Well, type your questions into the chat, because shortly we're going to be joined by Christine, who is the coordinator of Foodworks and has just done a fantastic job over the last few months. Her and the crew at Foodworks and all the volunteers that helps keep food moving through Foodworks and getting where it needs to go. But for right now, I am going to be joined by Libby, and we're going to check in on how progress is going towards our goal, because ultimately this is a fundraiser. We are raising funds to support the amazing work that the crew does at Foodworks. And so Libby, welcome. Good evening. Happy Empty Bowls.
Hi, thank you. How exciting to be here tonight. I'm live from my sister's house in Guilford, and where my family is having an empty bowls outside, and they're saving me some soup. But I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to watch, to be part of this event, and wanted to let you know that we're making great progress toward our $25,000 fundraising goal. We're going to continue. We're not quite there yet, so we are going to continue to sell bowls in out, which should help us get there. If you haven't already, please visit one of our wonderful bowl sellers to purchase a beautiful bowl. I'll show you mine right here. This one is from Z Pots. They're a lovely company. I believe they're in Brookline. And my bowl says gratitude, which really represents how I'm feeling right now. So you can still buy bowls in local stores, including the Brattleboro Food Co-op, Zephyr Designs, the Kitchen Sink, Everyone's Books, the Shoe Tree, and at the Putney Food Co-op and the Putney General Store. They're doing beautiful, amazing work for us easy this year by selling in local stores. So many, many thanks to all of you who've already purchased bowls. Thank you to all of you who are having your own empty bowls at home. It's really, I think it's kind of a fun way to do socially distant get-togethers. We've got a small group of us outside here at my sister's house and having a great time. I want to make sure that we thank all of our amazing sponsors who have stuck with us even, let me just start by reading. Silver Forest. I'm told they're going to scroll. Oh, okay. Trust Company of Vermont, the Brattleboro Food Co-op, Brattleboro Savings and Loan, Ceres Natural Remedies, King Arthur Baking Company, and Southern Vermont Wellness, and all of these other amazing folks who have stuck with us year in and year out. And, despite everyone having a bit of financial challenge this year, they've really been with us because they really appreciate the important work that we're doing. So many, many thanks to all of the folks who continue to support us. Join me in thanking them and give them your support, because we couldn't do this event without them. And with that, I'll kick it back to Josh.
Thanks so much, Libby. And could you repeat, before you go, could you just repeat, your connection kind of broke up a little bit. Are bowls still on sale?
They are. I'm so sorry that you missed that part. Bowls are still on sale in a number of stores, including Brattleboro Food Co-op, Zephyr Designs, The Kitchen Sink, Everyone's Books, The Shoe Tree, Putney Food Co-op, and the Putney General Store. So you can definitely still buy bowls until they sell out. So I will point out they make great holiday gifts.
Fantastic. I absolutely agree.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Libby.
Thank you.
And thank you too to all our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you, literally. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And now I get to be joined by Christine, and we get to talk Foodworks. Of course, Christine is the coordinator of our Foodworks program. And so I'm going to ask her to come in and say a couple words about her work, especially over the last few months. And then she's going to introduce us to her team and a volunteer. Christine, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome.
I'm so glad to be here. So my work has changed so much this year. It hasn't been that long since we moved from the garage behind the drop-in center into this new space on Canal. And I've just been amazed at how much we've been able to get done in this new space, and how that wouldn't have been possible in our old location. But since everything started in March, we've been delivering food to people who are homebound or who are at risk for contracting COVID. We've been doing curbside pickup. We've had dozens of volunteers really show up and have been incredible in completing this work. And we've also, a silver lining of the pandemic has also been being able to collaborate with a lot more organizations and really being creative and getting food out to people, not just through deliveries, but also in a bunch of other ways, getting weekend food to people on the school buses earlier this summer, to helping with the Everyone Eats program. So I'm so grateful to all of the volunteers and the staff that really make this possible.
It's really a tremendous effort. And I just want to underscore the fact that we moved that program at the end of last summer. And then in March, we totally turned that program on its head in terms of how we were delivering food to people. We went from being basically a store to providing delivery service. And so your team has just met the challenge with grace and flexibility, always keeping the people who we serve at the forefront of the work that we do, and also just being such a great way to welcome so many volunteers to support the effort. So kudos to you and all the team. I'm wondering if there are any needs for Foodworks right now, anything, if people want to be supportive, whether they have something to give or if they want to give their time. Do you have needs right now?
Yeah, so we're not only delivering food to more and more people, we're also delivering twice as much food. And so whereas when we had the store model, people would come in for their monthly shopping with exceptions, but that was the general guidance. Now we really wanted to stop that completely and just give as much food as people need whenever they need it. And because of that, and also changing our model to delivering food, we really need volunteers to help with that. The community has been so amazing in terms of support for getting food. We're getting a lot more food donated, although we could always use support with that. But I would say the greatest need is volunteer help. If you have time, just a half hour to several hours a week, just to pick up a few boxes of food and deliver them to your neighbors. or to help out in the food shelf space. It takes a lot more labor to pack boxes for people and talk with people about their dietary needs. And we really try to tailor those boxes to what people need, which takes a lot more effort. And so we need volunteers on for both of those tasks.
And if somebody wants to volunteer, what's the best way to reach out and connect?
Yeah, so Benjamin, who you will meet in a few minutes, is our wonderful AmeriCorps volunteer coordinator. And so you can reach out to them at bsmith@groundworksbt.org. You can also go to the Groundworks website, and there's some more information on how to contact us there.
That's fantastic. Well, how about I take a step back, and will you introduce us to the Foodworks team?
Absolutely. So first, I'd like to introduce Benjamin. Like I said, has been doing an incredible job. It takes a lot of work to organize daily schedules and reach out to volunteers and help in the Foodworks space as well. So, Benjamin, can you tell me a bit about what your role is at Groundworks?
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Christine. So my role here, and I've been just kind of stepping into it these last few weeks and really understanding what it is my role is. But I work, I serve with all of the volunteers who are lovely people who come in and they'll do deliveries, or they will come to the actual storefront and help out in the store. And so I help kind of facilitate that, and I help with all of the communication that goes on with that. And I also do a lot of the tasks that our volunteers do alongside you. So I have a quick story that I'd like to share about my first time making deliveries, which is one of the tasks that volunteers can do. So I was making a delivery to a shopper who she was getting her 2-week box, and we had just gotten a bunch of really fresh basil donated to us. So and it was in a bag. It had all of the roots and some soil still attached to it. So when I brought the boxes to this person's door, her face just lit up when she saw the basil and was so excited, and we talked for a few minutes about this basil. And before I went to deliver this box, I gave her a phone call just to let her know I was on the way, so she could expect me to be there. By the time I got home, after dropping off this box, I had a new text message from a number that I didn't recognize, and it was her telling me that she had planted this basil in a pot and was so excited to grow it. So that was just such a cool experience. That's why, I wanted to come here just to help light up people's days. So definitely, if you're interested in volunteering, if you want to have experiences like that, definitely reach out to us.
Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Connecting with the people that we serve and food to is my favorite part of my job as well. It's been hard to not connect with as many people in person, but food is such a relationship building thing and such a central thing in people's lives. And so even just talking to people on the phone or doing a quick visit when you drop the food off and talking about basil is really a highlight, I think, of our work. I'd like to now introduce Lindsay Richard, who also works at Foodworks. And she is going to talk a little bit about her work and also give us a tour of the new food shelf space.
Hi everyone, thanks Christine. I'm Lindsay. I'm also relatively new to Foodworks, but I'm loving it. I think I've been here for about a month and a half. My role is really keeping as much going smoothly as possible on a day-to-day basis. I am out in the community collecting our donations from individuals or our grocery donators. So I'm speaking with a lot of people about what we do, and just what I love so much is that I'm connected more to the community, and also seeing just like how our food system on a small scale is just a part of what's contributing to helping people. And then when I'm in the space itself, I'm also assisting Christine and Benjamin with talking with our clients about their needs, and really just having that one-on-one experience in terms of how what we're doing is impacting the community. So behind me is an example of what one of the boxes we would pack for a family of 5 would look like. And you can kind of see here, we really try to hit every food group possible. The Vermont Food Bank supplies us with a lot of our dry goods, from our pasta to our cereals to our like dressings and things of that nature. We purchase a lot of that, but then we also are building relationships with local farms. This local farm called Full Plate Farm. We've been lucky to get a lot of really amazing fresh produce from them this year, which the people love, as well as a lot of fresh produce that's coming in from individual people's gardens. And then we also, as you can see in the corner here, we're also able to supply additional support items, shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, things of that nature. And that's just really, really useful, because a lot of things you can't buy with food stamps. If food stamps alone isn't always enough to help people with what they need.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. And yeah, so $25, we are able to leverage so much more food with that $25 than if we were to be able to go to a grocery store. And so we're really able to provide as much food as people need. And like Lindsay, you said, all food groups. So thank you so much. I'd like to also introduce Chris McDermott, who is one of the volunteer delivery drivers that we have. Chris has volunteered with us since, I think, March. It feels like 10 years. And she is really just a rock star and has been essential to what we do. So welcome, Chris. Could you talk a bit about what your role is as a volunteer?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to this celebration tonight. First of all, before I tell you about the volunteer experience, I'd just like to say, as a volunteer and coming to the door of Foodworks and seeing Christine and Benjamin and Lindsay, it's an amazing amount of work, plus the volunteers. And the shelves look very full in the picture that Lindsay just showed us, and they are changing by the minute. So they work incredibly hard and make the job that we, the volunteer drivers, do so much easier. The schedule comes out the night before. And so as a volunteer, you get an email from Benjamin, and then we sign up for 3 to 4, sometimes 5 homes to deliver to, and then show up at the appointed time. So they are filling boxes really every 30 minutes, plus all the bags that go to the hotels that were delivered to all summer and or spring, summer, and early fall. Just amazing amounts of food go out of that door. And so I arrive at the appointed time, and they give me very heavy boxes of just what you saw on the table that Lindsay showed. It's amazing. It's well-rounded. There's everything, all kinds of food. Like we go to the store, are lucky enough to go to the store and buy. And then before I get there, I call the people that I'm delivering to on that day. And so there are families, there are single people, there are young people, there are older people. Everybody is represented. And initially, when I started back in March, I really didn't see many people. You know, it was during the shutdown time, the extreme shutdown time, and we usually leave the food outside, although the person knows that you're coming. And but I didn't see many people. And now, all these months later, I have seen them getting to know people because there are new people all the time, but also some people who have been shoppers for a very long time. So I thought I'd tell you a couple of stories that a woman that I delivered to in the beginning when I went there. I got to her place and she insisted that she wanted to give me something, and I said no, you know, we can't accept gifts. But she was more insistent than I was, and so she gave me a little paper bag and a glass of water in a jar. And when I got back to my car, I opened the bag and there are 3 bottles of pink nail polish. And I think it really meant a lot to her for me to take that. And so it was very sweet. Another person just last week, when I got to her house, she wanted to give a painting. She's a wonderful painter. And so she wanted to donate a painting to Foodworks. So people are both incredibly grateful and thankful, and you know that they can get food delivered to their home during this time has meant so much, and they are very verbal about thanking us when I see them, which, as I said, isn't all the time. So as a volunteer, I love it. I love participating. Even though it's so nice to see everyone without a mask, we don't really know each other that well, although Christine has had several Zoom meetings, so we can see each other in person, and that's really been very helpful. So I'm very thankful to be part of this process. And I also want to say that I do take business cards that Christine gave me. I often hand them out to people who, especially in the summer when people were outside more, and who ask about how they can get food. And that's just the wonderful thing about this, is that people call up, they say they need food, they don't ask questions, and a delivery is made. So, and then the final thing is kind of a poignant thing that has happened over the summer is often when I'm delivering, especially to an apartment complex, where there are a lot of, or at the hotels, and there are little kids around, just to show you that there is such a need. You know, kids will come up and ask me if I have food for them during that visit. So it's a program that really makes a difference. So thank you very much. I'm really grateful to be part of it.
Thank you so much, Chris, for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Foodworks crew, for giving us that tour. You want to be like Chris? Isn't that an amazing story? Chris just rattling off her experience of being a part of Foodworks. I'd put on there, if you're interested in volunteering, send us an email, foodworks@groundworksvt.org. Come get involved. I also have to say, within Groundworks, Chris is pretty famous, and I need to give her credit right now because she's known as the cookie lady. And so each Friday, she delivers and drops off cookie and has been doing this for a while. And it's such a bright spot in the week. It's something that we talk about amongst staff, amongst clients. It is something that we look forward to. And so, Chris, I just want to say thank you so much for your dedicated service to this organization and the people that we serve. It makes a difference. We need more Chris's. Thank you so much. So, coming right up, I'm going to be joined by Rihanna, Director of Operations for Groundworks, and also Christine. We're going to continue our discussion. We're going to broaden it a little bit, though. And so if you have a question about the fact that Vermont has interrupted homelessness in the last few months, we have used the COVID crisis to actually seize an amazing opportunity to interrupt homelessness. If you want to hear about that, or you have questions about that, or if you're wondering what innovative, cutting-edge collaborations are in the works right now. Get your questions into the chat, and I will ask our expert team in just a second. But before we get into that interview, we're going to listen to a song by Jenny Reichman. Many of you will recognize Jenny. She has been a dedicated presence at Empty Bowls year in and year out, and has become a real fixture of the event. So, Jenny.
So hello everybody out in Zoom land, Empty Bowls dinner, Empty Bowls Zooming. My name is Jenny Reichman and I'm going to be playing a couple songs for you. This song is called By Way of Sorrow and it's by Julie Miller.
And now I am unmuted. That was so good. Thank you so much, Jenny. That was great. So now we're back, and I'm going to be joined by Rihanna Kendrick, Groundworks Director of Operations. And also Christine is going to come back and join us as well. We're going to continue the Q&A. Are you two there?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back, Christine. Good to see you, Rihanna.
You too.
So Christine, first question is for you. Can you give us a sense of how many people are getting emergency food right now?
Yeah, so since March, we have made about 3,500 deliveries to people's homes, and also delivering food to people in hotels and the different shelters in the area. We make about 100 deliveries a week, and over 700 households since March. And again, people are getting food twice as many times, so it feels like a lot.
It feels like you're almost serving twice as many people because of the deliveries.
Mm.
And of course, Groundworks is food, shelter, and supportive services. And so, Ryan, can you give us a little picture? We talked briefly with Christine about the fact that our Foodworks program turned their model on its head as COVID was coming into Vermont. Can you give us a picture of what our shelter programs looked like in February and then what it looked like in March?
Yeah, sure. Such a significant shift. We went from February kind of watching and worrying about COVID without huge concerns at that point. And then in the middle of March, we moved to close the seasonal overflow shelter and to move all of the folks at that point. On that night, there were 19 people in shelter with us, moved to motel rooms, and we moved about half of the population at Groundworks shelter who were considered high risk. Those folks all moved into motel rooms. And then from there, we started to staff, instead of being at the seasonal overflow shelter, we were in one of the local motels, staffing 24/7. And that number quickly grew. The folks that were precariously housed or unstably housed came into motels as a response by the state of Vermont to open up the general assistance program and ensure that our most vulnerable populations were housed. And so those numbers quickly swelled. We have about 150 folks in motels in the Brattleboro area right now, which includes mainly folks from Brattleboro and surrounding areas in Windham County, but also includes folks out of the Springfield area where motels are full, and out of the Bennington area where they're facing the same problem. And so we have a little bit more capacity in this area. And then continuing to provide supportive services to all of those folks, and for Foodworks to deliver food to those folks. It's been quite an adventure.
To say the least.
To say the least.
Christine, could Ryan just touched on the fact that Foodworks is supporting folks in motels with food. Could you say a couple words about what that looks like and how that has been an addition to the work that Foodworks does?
Yeah, so up until a few weeks ago, we were delivering food to everyone in all of the hotels in Brattleboro outside of the major hotels. So it came out to about 60 to 70 people that we were delivering food 3 times a week to, and all meals. And that was always the big task of the day, always something that we took very, very seriously, knowing that these are folks who don't have shelter, and this is the food that they have during this time, this really uncertain time. And so we are still delivering food to people in hotels, a lot of people who are self-paying and aren't getting their hotel room from the state, but the state is now providing 3 meals a day, which just started, that we're really excited about. But that's not always enough food for people, and so we're still supplying either supplemental food or all food for folks who are self-paying, and we're able to utilize the Everyone Eats program, which we helped collaborate on to start. And really one of the main ideas of getting that started was making sure that that amazing restaurant quality food is going to people who are the most vulnerable. And so we're really happy to be able to provide food from local restaurants to people who only have a microwave in their homes.
I'm glad that you mentioned Everyone Eats. It's really amazing that this program is happening. The fact that we're able to support restaurants, the larger we, not Groundworks, but the larger we supporting restaurants to make meals that then get to serve folks in the community that need food. And it's for everyone. So Everyone Eats. And I've talked about this as being an amazing point in our work. I joined this organization over 8 years ago and never thought that I would be able to say within a couple months of quick action that we've housed everybody, not only in Brattleboro, but throughout the state. But it's kind of a temporary, it's more interrupted than ended homelessness. What's going to happen next? Like, here we are, Rihanna, like, where are we going to go?
That's a great question. It's such an exciting time, which is an interesting thing to say in times of COVID. It's the first summer that we haven't been outreaching people who are in pretty large size encampments around our community, something that has certainly grown more noticeable over the years. But we're also now in the situation where we have 4 times the number of people that we would have seen in an emergency shelter, which we would have been closing at the end of the season. We would have been trying to get people into Groundworks shelter. We would have been handing people tents, kind of every creative option. And so motel rooms are extended through March 31st right now. I think, we're all at the mercy of seeing what comes next in terms of COVID and what that will look like. But from a state perspective, we know that there is a plan to extend people further than that. And it's also a time of a massive amount of resources. And so we're helping people to get connected to housing vouchers and subsidies that are being rolled out across the state.
Mm-hmm.
That's a significant move. We're working with some of our partners like the Wyndham and Windsor Housing Trust to ensure that we have available units and to create projects that will provide those available units. And I think the stark reality is that we will see folks that won't have a place to go. And it's hard to fathom kind of how many people that will be and what that will look like. And so we're doing everything we can and working with our community partners and our state partners to ensure that people do have a landing spot to go once we reach March 31st, which notably is a month earlier than we would even close our emergency shelter. It's a time of year that's rainy and cold and not a great time to be outdoors in a tent, if there was ever a good time to be outdoors in a tent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so some positive and some trepidation, some things we've answered, some things are still becoming.
Absolutely.
A question that I get is, have any of the folks that we serve been sick with COVID?
No, notably not a single one. We were really grateful for Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, who partnered with us to provide mobile COVID testing, which was quite an experience in the beginning of the time where we had folks in motels. So we did that for about 3 months or so. We had folks who have been sick, and every time someone gets sick, there's a huge concern about if it could be someone that was COVID positive, but fingers crossed, not a single person so far. And we continue to partner with organizations like BMH, who places nurse practitioners on site with us every week to kind of monitor and make sure that folks' medical needs are taken care of.
I got a couple more questions for you. One is, in March, when we completely shifted everything that's going on, at the same time, we started on the project on 60 South Main. And
we sure did.
That is kind of flying under the radar, I think, right now. Can you give us a status report on that project and then what that means when that comes online? Like, how does this fit into the conversation that's going on right now?
Sure. Yeah, what a time frame to be in. We were so excited to be working on this project and to be breaking ground and starting construction, and then COVID really turned that all upside down. And yet construction continued. So for anyone who drives up the hill past the drop-in center location and sees the construction next door, they've kind of seen that come to life. And we have windows, there's electricity, and you're seeing that building really appear so quickly. We're on track to be able to open that building for January. And at the same time, opening that building has so many questions for us. And so trying to figure out what does that building look like in the time of COVID? What are the precautions that we have to have in place? How many people can we serve at a time? And so working on a lot of logistics to make that happen, and yet feeling really excited about kind of our Groundworks operations, having a central home, something that we have worked on feels like endlessly. I think we're going on almost 5.5 years since our merger, and this has been a major process of that. So it's exciting to see it coming together finally.
So let me just reflect back. I've heard that we're serving about 4 times as many people in a program that we just learned how to operate in its form in March. We have a major construction project that's going on that now we're starting to think about how that's going to come back online. We have a Foodworks program that has changed its entire way that it is doing business so that it can support the people and is serving about twice as many people. Anything else going on? Is that all that's happening now?
I think those are the biggest recaps. I mean, I think it goes without saying the staff that we have on board with us are incredible. The folks that we serve are incredibly resilient. They have been able to navigate a world flipped totally upside down, and thinking about navigating through COVID as a person who has resources. You know, we all have so much privilege. I'm sitting in my home doing a live stream and thinking about folks who have navigated through a global pandemic without the ability to kind of meet their basic daily needs is a little bit unfathomable. And at the same time, you know, we have, I think, grown our staff fairly significantly to be able to accommodate these needs. I think the folks, you know, as people went home in March and April to work remotely, our staff did not. They continued to work in, you know, the highest risk conditions. I think there was a major concern that folks experiencing homelessness would be super spreaders if they were to become sick. And so people continued to show up, to interview, to accept jobs with us. And I think really recognizing the work that's happening and of our community partners that are supporting that work as well is pretty incredible.
So big breath of gratitude for you, Christine, our staff, our board, the volunteers, the folks that we serve who are part of, they help us. I mean, it's not like us and them. They are involved in everything that goes on as well. So couple other questions. One, Christine, for you, I often get this question. Would you prefer people drop off food, or if it's an either or, would you prefer people make a cash donation or check?
You saw Lindsay with all of the food that we're able to provide for just $25. If you were to buy that in a grocery store, it would easily be hundreds of dollars. And so when people give a cash or a check donation, we're really able to stretch that much further than people dropping off food. That being said, food donations are also really wonderful. We especially love when people drop off produce from their garden. Things like that. And there are also some products that we can't purchase and that are really great to have. Things like toilet paper, non-food items, pet food, household supplies are really great.
Fantastic. And Rihanna, we do have some folks that are finding housing maybe right now or maybe in the near future. Are there needs that people have who are moving into more permanent living situation, clothes, houseware, furniture, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so typically we help people kind of get set up with anything they might need in a new home. And so we tend to publish those lists either to our mailing list. And so Libby will send out an email or we'll publish that to our Facebook page, the things that we're looking for. And so keeping an eye out if you have decided to impromptu clean out your basement, you know, we're happy to accept furniture and dishes, things that we can help people get set up in their new homes with.
If people are not so much on the internet or on the Facebooks, is there a way to get a hold if they have something to donate?
Yeah, I think just giving us a call to check in and to arrange that donation.
And all of our contact information is on our website.
Absolutely.
Is that Marley?
It is Marley, yep.
Marley. So thank you too. I really appreciate it. You're doing wonderful work, and thanks to all of our staff as well for the amazing work that we do. So thanks for being part of Empty Bowls.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to pass it back over to Libby for a check-in with her.
Hi. So we're going to do a quick share of some photos that people posted for us to share this evening of their Empty Bowls gatherings. I believe that is going to start running, but I want to just say these are photos from Ruby, who's hosting a couple of small Empty Bowls gatherings, and also from my family gathering this evening in Guilford. Of course, now these photos were taken people had to get them to me by 5:30. So now it's very dark outside and my family's out there making s'mores right now. But these are some lovely photos from Ruby and her family empty bowls, of which I believe she's having more than one. I want to just let you know that together we have raised over $21,000, or around $21,750 and counting at the moment, to support Foodworks. So we are really making our way toward that $25,000 goal. There's my daughter Willow in the background. We are I think we're going to make it. So the stores will keep selling bowls, and we will push our way to try to get to that $25,000 mark. We hope that you can help us spread the word about this great work that we're doing at Foodworks, or in email to your networks. If you haven't already, you can make a donation on our website, and I've been leaving that link in the live chat on YouTube and on Facebook. So check it out there if you'd like to send a donation. You cannot buy a bowl online anymore, but any donation you make online would be fully tax deductible. And of course, you can buy a bowl in the stores. I wanted to thank a few other people who've made this event possible. Bonnie Stearns and Julianne Mills have been an incredible support in working together with Sarah and Beth to pull this off. So big thanks to Bonnie and Julianne. I want to thank the wonderful team at BCTV who are running the technical aspect of this evening's live stream and doing a great job. This is not easy. It's everybody's kind of learning how to do this right now, and it's such a funny time where everybody is going, "Oh, am I on mute?" So wonderful job. Thank you to the team at BCTV. And I want to thank Kirsten Ulrich for her beautiful design work on all of our materials, and to the CNS print shop for donating all of the printing. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch this broadcast. We're really appreciative of all of your support. Thank you so much. And I'll send it back to Josh. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Livy. You know, it just underscores, I'm sitting here, I'm astonished. It's $21,750. So generous. I can't believe this community that we live in that supports the work that we do. And we literally could not do our work without the support that our donors provide for us. So thank you so much for being a part of Groundworks and supporting the work that we do. We're getting close to the end of the evening, but we do have Jenny, who's going to come back and perform one more song for us. This is an original song of hers. It's called Resting Place. Jenny.
The lines of
looking for the next resting place.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And so before we close this evening, I want to take the opportunity to tell you about another ongoing event that's happening right now. And this is an event that is a legacy of pre-merger. You know, Ryan had mentioned that Groundworks is the product of a merger, Morningside Shelter and the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center. And so prior to the merger, and actually after we merged, we have an event called Hike for the Homeless. And so we would normally have our hike last weekend, but we can't get a permit because of the having to stay physically distanced and for the hike event. So we're going virtual this year and adding a choose your own challenge to this year's hike, and we're calling it the Give 60 Challenge. And we chose 60 very specifically because the address of the drop-in center is 60 South Main, and that's where we say dignity has an address. So 60 South Main is the home of the drop-in center. It's the entry point for people who are seeking help with shelter, housing support, and at one time emergency food. So scores of our neighbors in need use 60 South Main as their mailing address for lack of a permanent housing, and will continue to do so when we move back in after building this pretty incredible building that's going up right now in South Main. So a number of people have already signed up on there on the website for this event. And so if you're interested, please go to our website, groundworksvt.org, and click on the events tab for more information. Your support is greatly appreciated. And so with that, it brings us to the end of this live stream. And while it wasn't the typical event that we know and love, I hope that you feel connected to the work that we do and see the impact of what it means to be a part of Empty Bowls. So thank you for joining us. And I want to ask all of the folks that were on the live stream tonight, all of our participants, to come back and to unmute so that we can all shower viewers with a cacophony of thank yous. So please join me in saying thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we're done.
All right, we're clear, everybody.
All right. Nice work, everybody. Oy vey.
Oy vey.
Well done. That was really good.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Sorry, Lydia, I tripped up on this Give 60 challenge. I'm not used to this new fundraiser, man.
I thought you did fine. I didn't hear anything off.
It was like mud coming out of my mouth.
It was great.
There's your buddy Josh.
Hey!
Hi. Hi, everybody at the Ryan's house. Hey.
Well, thank everybody. Thank everybody for such a wonderful show. It was wonderful. I have to say, I really am missing the landmark event tonight. And so one day we'll get it back.
Next year we'll be back there.
Yeah.
I hope so.
In an hour,
We gotta be hopeful.
In an hour, I will call you, Josh, and you can come clean up after dinner for me.
In terms of labor, this is so much better.
It's only 7 o'clock. We'll call them in 3 hours.
3 hours, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting pockets with sand for you to carry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Yay.
Many thanks.
Thank
you,
you.
Austin and Nolan.
Welcome. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Good night, everybody.